I'm John Batchelor. Mary Kissel's here. We're going to do polls. Mary has a show at WSJ.com's Opinion Journal, and polls are part of the conversation each day, the politics of America. I understand polls can be seen as pointless and not ideologically based. They don't require history reading. You're just following which way the weather vane blows. However, polls are how you keep score day to day for trends as well. We welcome Salena Zito of the Pittsburgh Tribune Review. Salena is a political columnist as well as a political reporter, and she knows very well, having followed politicians for many years from Western Pennsylvania, that polls are the way you raise money, polls are the way you recruit, polls are the future. Salena, good evening to you, and I propose to you a puzzle. This raised from the Washington Post, The Fix, earlier today. Here's the puzzle. Everybody can play this game. Mary as well. Why is it that the President of the United States' approval on the issues, the economy, health care, foreign policy, lower than the President's overall approval rating? Now, neither are very high considering the history of this presidency. I believe now on Real Clear Politics, the average poll number for the most recent hours is that the President is 40.1 overall. But his approval rating on the economy, on healthcare, on foreign policy, 36%, much lower. Salena, your response. Why is the president approved higher than his conduct? Good evening to you.
Hey there, how are you? Well, I mean, I think that we've always seen this sort of phenomenon with this president in terms of people wanting to approve of him personally, but that has always sort of run in conflict with his approval of handling things. And so, you know, we saw the evidence of those dips in late 2009 and continuing through 2010, where his personal approval was much higher than how he handled things. But now, and you saw the results of that in the midterm elections. After that period leading up to 2012, the presidential elections, you saw those numbers sort of come back together. He never was at the highs that he was in 2008, but he still maintained above 50%. Now, with real meaty problems facing the American people, the effects of Obamacare on maybe not you personally, but on someone you know, someone in your family, someone that you work with, and the corresponding effects that we're starting to see chip away at an economy that hasn't still recovered from 2008. I think that's why you see the numbers where they are.
But Salena, I'm going to press you on this because I'm asking why. Because it's a historic presidency and we want him to succeed because he's the first African American president. Is it because he gets terrific press coverage and we've never heard anything bad about the fellow? Is it because he's a wonderful empathizer and when you see him on television you think, man, this guy really cares about me? Why is it that the personal approval ratings are so much higher than the job approval ratings? I just don't get it.
Well, I don't think it's any one of those. I think it's a combination of a lot of that. And I also truly believe this, and it's not just sort of my opinion, but it's based on having plenty of conversations with people. They're very skittish in this very polarized state of the country to admit to friends, or admit to a pollster, or to admit to even to themselves that they wouldn't like him. And it has to do with a lot of things. It has to do with a lot of the things that you mentioned, where we want to like him, we want him to be successful because this is historical. We don't want to buy into the boxes of either being a part of the Tea Party or or a crazy conservative, or whatever the title may be. But we don't want to get boxed into all those labels that sort of float out there and that are part of the Main Street conversation. So I don't think you see a lot of honesty expressed about how people truly feel about the president.
I want to push this because the president's not going to be on a ballot ever again. Fine. The way to talk about this now is 14. The Democrats are looking at numbers, the president's approval rating, but then they're looking at the economy, health care, and foreign policy, and especially on the approval of the health care law. There's nowhere to hide on this. So, Salena, I'll turn the screw on this. Do the Democrats run away from President Obama? He's not popular, and none of these policies are popular. Where do they go?
They absolutely. You're going to see the Democrats behave almost exactly the way the Republicans behaved in 2006. This is post-Katrina. This was post-Scooter Libby. This is when post, the angst over Iraq. Do we do a surge? Do we not do a surge? The sort of putting the war in Afghanistan sort of in the back burner, and it was a really tough time for Republicans, and that showed up in the election.
All right, 2006. Mary, do you go along with that? Because what Selena's talking about is the wave of 2006. Nancy Pelosi took the House, and they took the Senate. They overwhelmed. Is that what you're seeing in Opinion Journal?
Well, it depends on the Republican candidates, John, and whether or not they're going to learn from 2012 when Tea Party candidates, some of them were terrific, and others got creamed.
And so you're wave sort of, Mary?
I'm wave sort of. I don't have a lot of faith in the Republican Party to capitalize on this opportunity. Maybe I'm a cynic, John.
Right. No, my father used to tell me they don't have to be good. They just have to beat the Republicans. I always understood that as 20th century. Salena Zito, the Pittsburgh Tribune Review. Mary Kissel of Opinion Journal. For those listening in Australia, each day, East Coast time, 1 p.m. at WSJ.com. I'm John Batchelor.